Hello guys, and welcome back to another tutorial. So in today's video we're going to learn how to make this beautiful milkmaid dress. If that sounds like something you're interested in learning, keep on watching and let us get right into it. So I already have my lines ruled out, as you can see. So I'm just going to show you, this is the shoulder line, this is our bust point line, this is the under bust line, this is the waistline, and this is the full length, because we're going to have a basque at the front of this dress. So you can see that we added an extra 4" for the basque. So I'm just going to label that as the basque line. So now what we want to start off doing is we want to go ahead to mark our shoulder measurement divided by 2, and then we're going to mark this down. We're just going to do our normal basic drafting and then start working on the bottom part, because this is actually a dress that has straps. So I went ahead to draft this off camera because we are actually not going to work with the top part. So now I'm just marking my nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2, and then we're going to rule a straight line at that point. Now on both sides of the line we just rolled out, we're going to take 1/2 inch on both sides for our darts. So we're just going to mark this out and then rule this all the way down. Next, on this chest area here, I'm going to mark my bust measurement divided by 4, and then we're going to mark it out. That's going to serve as a guide for us to cover out our armhole, to create the armhole area. Now we want to start adding in our body measurements divided by 4. So I'm going to mark my bust measurement divided by 4, and then my waist measurement divided by 4. So the waist and the underbust is actually the same thing. That's why I did not add anything at the underbust area. So now this is what we have. We're going to have a basque at this point here, so we're going to slant it. So for now we're just going to ignore that bottom line, and then we want to return the dart we have on this part here. So I'm going to take that and then I'm going to mark it back on this point before I move ahead now to just rule these lines to meet each other. Next, at our underbust area, we're going to come at this point here to come up by 1 inch to create that curve we have at the underbust area. So I'm going to place my tape at that point, and then we're going to mark 1 inch. After marking 1 inch, we're going to use our curve ruler to just curve this back into the underbust line, the way you see me doing right now. Next, we're going to use our nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, which is what we have at this front. We're going to take it to this point here and we're going to mark it out the way you see me doing just now. So you can see that what we have now is 7 inches, which is our approximate nipple to nipple measurement. Now I'm going to use my curve ruler to just curve this out. Now we want to go ahead to curve out the top part. I just placed my tape there to see if it's going to be okay to just curve it out from the curve we have at the sides there. So I'm going to do it that way. I'm using my curve ruler now to just from that armhole area, we're just going to curve this back to the midpoint as you see me doing right now. So you just want to go ahead to curve this very well so it comes out looking nice. And one thing you want to understand is this is going to differ for each person. depending on the size of their bust as well as their nipple to nipple measurements. You can see that what I have after placing the tip was 5 inches. So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead to add our seam allowances. You can do this on your fabric, or you can just go ahead to do this on the pattern paper. And then I'm just going to rule this out. Now after rolling that part out, we want to go ahead to cut this out so we can go ahead to just create our basque at the bottom part. After cutting this out, we want to go ahead to close up our dart at the bottom part. We're closing this up so we can be able to create the basque at the bottom part, and because we're not going to have any joinings at that area for the bodies. So I'm closing this up, and we're going to go ahead to use our ruler to just rule a straight line to create the basque. After ruling out the basque, this is what we have. We want to go ahead to cut this, and one thing I need you to take note of is that this pattern paper is on fold, meaning we have it on two sides. So here I just created a notch at the bottom part just so I can transfer the dart to the other side. Like I said, we have it on fold. So this is what we have. Now we're going to go ahead to cut off the bust area, which is this part I'm cutting out right now, and we're going to use that to do the slash and spread for the bust area. So this is what we have. Next I'm going to slit it open, and then we're also going to go ahead to cut out the remaining part of this pattern as well. So I want to go ahead to close up the dart. Now after cutting out the pieces, this is what we have for the front. So before we proceed on working on this pattern, we want to go ahead to draft the pattern for the back piece. So for the pattern for the back, you can see that we didn't rule out any zipper allowance. This is because we're going to have our zipper at the side of the dress and not at the back. We're going to have loops at the back, so you just want to pay attention. So this is the bust point, this is the under bust, and this is our waistline. We don't have any basque at the back, so this is going to be our standard waistline. Now what we want to go ahead to do for the back is we just want to go ahead to mark our nipple to nipple measurement at that point. That is going to serve as our back dart as well as where our loops are going to sit. So I'm just going to mark this and then rule a straight line, taking out our darts on both sides, seemingly the way we did for the front. So before that, I'm going to go ahead to rule a straight line from the armhole area all the way. So this is going to be the length of the back piece. We're going to have straps, as you already know, so this is going to be the length we're going to work with for the back. Now after taking out our dart, we want to go ahead to start imputing our body measurements divided by 4. We're going to start off with the bust point measurement, and then we're going to go all the way to the waistline. The waistline and the underbust is the same thing. That's why I just skipped the underbust and went straight to the waistline. I'm going to mark that out, and then we're going to return the 1 inch that we took and then rule it out. Next, we're going to mark 1 inch sewing allowance at the sides. So I'm going to mark this out now. Now I'm going to label this as you see me doing right now, and then we just want to go ahead to cut out the back piece. Now after cutting out the pattern, you want to make sure you label this just so you know what part is going to sit at the top and what part is going to sit at the bottom. Now back to the front piece. This is the bust area. Now we want to do the slash and spread method for this part. So I'm just going to place my tape and we're going to mark 1 inch and just mark it all the way to the very end and then rule a straight line. After ruling out the lines, I'm just numbering them so we know what part sits where, and then we're going to cut this out. Now after cutting this out, we're just going to place this on the fresh piece of pattern paper and we're just going to separate them, spread them out, and I'm just spreading them out by 1 inch because the person I'm working on, the person's bust isn't that big, but depending on the size of the bust you're working on, you want to go ahead to even do this 1.5 inches wide away from each other. So I hope you understand. So after placing them down, I'm going to tape them in place. I'm just going to make sure everything is 1 inch away from each other and then secure it in place with my tape. After taping all our pattern pieces in place, I'm now going to go ahead to rule this to meet each other. So just go ahead to curve out the top parts just to create the shape for the top and the bottom as you see me doing right now. So we're done doing that, and now we want to go ahead to cut this out. So guys, this is the fabric we're going to work with for this tutorial, and I'm working with 3 yards of this fabric. I do not want this video to be too long, so in our next video we're going to go ahead to cut the fabric as well as sew everything together. So if you found this video helpful, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys on the next one.